As you said, India is so diverse.
Yes.
Just going off on a little bit on that tangent. Some of the cities where you actually individually have really enjoyed working, and some quirkiness that you remember, maybe something done down south or some in the eastern part of the country or anything like that, where you can actually feel the difference that India is actually a very diverse country. I hope my question is making sense.
So again,
I think when I have to single out something like this, I, I, I can't. It's very tough because, like I said earlier, every project is different. Every city is different. So there's something interesting or the other which we have done in every city,
Right.
or every progressive city. So just to single out something, it'll be a
Something
bit
that's
tough.
unique that I won't say single out for a generalized thing, but something that sits with you as a very special memory or a project.
no, that is all over, and every day we create
Yeah,
new
I mean,
memories,
it's
and every,
Yeah.
I mean,
every
so
moment which you
that is like
no,
that's what makes the whole journey so enjoyable. Has kept the journey so enjoyable is that you've literally enjoyed each and every project
I
of
think
ours.
as soon as you crack a solution, which is a challenge for that project in that point of time,
Right.
it's amazing. It's really satisfying, and that has been happening for years together. So it's very tough to really single out something, and solutions are something which excites us. Something challenging, something which is a problem, some difficulty at side. उसमें excitement होती है कुछ different होगा. Solution में something else is hidden. Dig a little deeper. Come out with something exciting, and the solution is right there. All that you have to do is think a little harder, and then that is exciting. It's really stimulating, I think.
Okay. That's very interesting. Usually, I would always assume that there would have been a few projects here and there that have a special place in your heart.
Each and every one of them.
Sure, I will take that answer then.
No, so so the other day our client sent me a picture of a house we did, I don't know, more than 20, 25 years back.
Right.
And then I'm looking at that picture, and then very interesting location, sea beyond, and the pool was of course being built on the ground floor, and I'm talking, as I said, 25 years back at the turn of the century. And then it just realized if I'm in the pool, I can't see the sea. So why don't we make the pool on the first floor?
Right.
Now, nobody had heard of the term of infinity pool, and all was
It
never
didn't
heard
exist
of.
that time.
I mean, at least we were not aware of it. It may have existed. And we were young and we were thinking, and we proposed this thought. The client pondered over it, we debated, we discussed, and then we built a pool which was the extension. So when the pool got shifted to the first floor, then his living room got shifted to the first floor. And when the structure was coming up, we would just walk there, and he said, yes, this is such a smart choice, because when I'm on the ground floor, the beach is not private. I have a boundary wall, compound wall. I'm disconnected from the sea, right? Despite being right on the sea.
Right.
And but just by the virtue of just shifting this on the first floor, you pop your head out, you see the sea beyond your pool. In your living room, you just see the whole spectrum of sea. And it was insane. And I'm seeing those photographs. After like 25 years, he's sharing those. I mean, he just went there. Out of the blue, I got those pictures from him. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Every project has to have its own
set of challenges.
creative solution
so
to
the
it.
thing has always been to push the boundaries, to question every decision. Never take the easy way out, but look for the right and appropriate contextual answers. And that makes every project very exciting, very real. I mean, so one of the projects that Rahul recently did is it's a house which is completely landlocked there in an old part of a city in North India. So the only way we could get sunlight was from the top.
So we actually ended up proposing a hanging garden inside. I mean, top means the obvious thought would be sunlight, skylight laga do and some light will come in. That was not enough for us. We said skylight bhi lagao, put vertical greenery and have a hanging garden inside. I mean, that changed the mood and the aura of that whole house altogether.
Sometimes do you find clients being very difficult in their needs and impractical as well? And if that happens,
so
then
if it's for the right reason,
Huh.
if what they're demanding is right, and not, as I said, something gimmicky, we love that challenge, and every challenge is an opportunity. That's when you come up with great solutions.
Yeah, so I'd like to say here, I think for me, there are two types of clients. The difficult ones are the nice ones because they
Okay.
extract the best out of you. They don't get convinced so easily. So they push the boundaries for us also. I kind of enjoy that. And you're able to, you want to think harder, and then you realize कि ये भी हो सकता है और आगे हो सकता है or even better. But the ones I find little not so pleasant are the confused ones because they are confused. They change their decision every meeting. What they said in the last meeting. So
Yeah.
that this confused lot is a bit of a challenge because because they're confused, they're not clear what they want. So that is a bigger challenge, I think.
So
in
you
the
must have
practice.
said no to a lot of clients over the years as well, right?
Oh, I mean, we
Sorry?
say
What
no.
You
is
must
that?
have said no to a lot of clients over the
We
years.
say no more than we say yes.
Yeah, but it's taken a lot of goodwill, hard work to come to a stage,
No.
Or was it clear from day one that
From the day one.
it was a lot of young practices that
Say
start
no,
up?
no. So, and this is what I advise people also. You have to learn to say no. If you start your career or practice by compromising, you will end up compromising for the rest of your life. If you're not clear on what type of work you want to do, and
Yep.
that's something which, as I said, we started from the day one. We said no to clients, whether it was like, I mean, there was a very interesting episode right at the beginning of our career. Like the client said, this is the budget, this is the time period. I said, it's not practical. No, you're very highly recommended. I want you to do this, take up this project. I said, no, it's not possible. Once the project got done, he had spent 5x the amount and he had taken 3 times the time. So I asked him, so I was telling you, I'd have done it faster for you, I'd have done it in a lesser budget for you.
Right.
No, but whatever you were saying, you would have also, gone X
Right.
times over. I said that's a very sad approach. So I know that client and I know that architect, and unfortunately, I mean, the people who work like that, I had also seen on hindsight, people who are very clear have grown much more. So that clarity of, I mean, that whole attitude of ki, whatever budget you're saying, whatever timelines you see will get exceeded, was something which we never, I think, we are saying something and we will deliver in that time, and that has worked really well for us.
It's good.
Till date, this is.
I mean, there is always some deviations, some variations, but not,
Yeah.
I mean, we know what we are talking and we will deliver what we are promising.
That's great to have that clarity. And I think at work for us also, if we're able to get to the market with our product and distribution strategy with clarity, it just takes off really fast.
Absolutely. And you guys have been doing it for
For a very, very long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good reinforcement for me at work as well to have that clarity. Where do you think architecture in India is going in general? Like, I know the Indian architecture landscape has changed a lot over the last 10, 15 years. Like, I've seen it. I joined the family business 14 years ago. And I've seen the way consumers approach architects. मुझे अभी भी याद है 15, 20 years ago, at least in tier 2, tier 3 cities, architect को engineer बुलाते थे. Right? Now that is changing. Now if you go to an Indore or Ludhiana or a Guwahati, which is a really sprawling, growing cities, and I think there's a lot of value that architects are now being given. This is my perception. What's your take on this?
Not entirely wrong. Yeah. Perception is correct.
So where do you think this is going to go over the next 10, 15 years?
My opinion, the speed at which this is happening is very, very high, and architects don't have enough time and enough. The pressure is so high, or the commercial pressure is so high. I think sensitive designing is lacking throughout the country. That I see, and I feel very sad about it. Yeah, so because the pressure is very high, the projects, the commercials, the renters, and expectation is too much, and the time is, you need time to do things. Everybody wants it tomorrow. So because of that pressure, I think that the design and the quality of design,
Right.
what it used to be when you used to properly get into design, I think that is something which needs to be checked.
What would be the solution if you were to recommend a solution?
No
to this?
solution. So it's actually not only a problem in India; it's a problem of every growing economy, and it's actually a global problem. So today you see glass and buildings all across the globe.
Yeah, it looks the
Whether,
same.
yeah, so whether that building is in Kenya, right on the equator, or in Delhi,
Or in Milan or wherever
or in
else. Yeah.
Milan, or in Scandinavia, I mean, right from the coldest to the equator, or in a desert. I mean, Dubai, I mean, you can pick up any building and plant it anywhere.
Yeah.
And so there's no context. And there is no sensitivity. So, unfortunately, most of the architecture and design is happening like that. There are, in our opinion, and of course everybody is entitled to their opinion. Somebody may find this absolutely justified and correct, but for us, we believe that's a huge. So, building industry accounts to one of the largest contributors to environmental impacts on this planet, on overall extraction of our resources, use of our resources.
Right.
And we do realize what's happening to our environment. But we are still making these energy guzzling buildings without sensitivity, without context, without exploring enough. And there are buildings which are doing that. It's not possible. Every town, every city, every country you go to, you will find some modern gems happening. But they're too few and too far in between. And I say it's a global problem. It's not only a problem for India.
If you look at architecture from the 1500s, 1600s globally, which is what is romanticized. You go to Europe, or even if you go to parts of India.
So, I'm sorry, I think, but the medieval ages are going on to Renaissance and all that. I think architecture. Firstly, architecture is always a patron-driven profession. So you're building a church or a government building or a mausoleum or a palace. You can romanticize them, but they are not really. I mean, they were fine for the era they were built in.
Right.
But they are definitely not the kind of architecture you want today.
But
the saddest part is so many buildings we build today are just replicas of that.
No, I agree. But if you look at the 1500s, the 1600s, 1700s, there's a common theme in most cities, and you can identify buildings based on their architecture that this is from a certain period in time. The buildings, as you said today, आप उठा के कहीं भी रख दो, but एक तो कहाँ से वो नहीं पता चलेगा, and also which time period is probably going to be from. That will also be missing, I guess, right? Because
no, all glass-clad buildings are a recent phenomena.
But do you see this trend going to be changing in the near future?
So, hopefully, but there's no way to know. No, I mean, I have come to a very cynical conclusion that 90% of human behavior, or rather 99% of human behavior, is illogical, and it will continue to be so. And that's human behavior. It's been like that throughout our history. Human history has been like, why do we have war? Why do we fight over divisions which should not exist?
But they do, and wars happen.
And we have been fighting, and we have been killing each other, and we will continue to do that.